It is September 26, 2017, a Tuesday, and the cavalry has arrived. First, we're going to dig a 60-foot trench for sewer and electric lines under the driveway. These will just be empty tubes that are left in the ground for future use. It's a lot easier to do it now than later on after the driveway is built. Gravel just arrived. I was a little slow on the draw, but I got the gravel at the end of the dump, I guess. Okay, now we're going to put gravel in the trench on top of the conduit. Here we've got a 4-inch conduit just to act as a tunnel for other conduit, and a 2-inch conduit and a 1.5-inch conduit. And at the end, we're going to lay that down. There we go. All right, so here comes the first load of gravel. We're now digging the main ditch. This is going to carry the 7,500 volt line from that junction box down there to the transformer pad. Small complication here. Ag Water Services didn't quite do what we wanted here. The drain tile takes a dive at this point to cross under the Ameren duct and get under the road. That's making extra work. The excavators have gone home for the day. We've made pretty good progress. In the center of the frame is the ditch that contains the tunnel under the driveway. That's just 3 conduits for future use. Apparently somebody had fried chicken for lunch. Over here, we've got the ditch for the 7,500 volt line, but we had to uncover the drain tile so that we could put gravel on both sides of it. Otherwise, we were just going to have compressible topsoil under the driveway, which would have been very undesirable. Little bit of a problem here. Over there, Ameren severed the clay drain tile with a line, and they installed the line at the same elevation as the drain tile. So the drain tile installers had to dive down here to go under the Ameren duct. Everything from this 45-degree bend to the drain tile is going to have to be redone once Ameren lowers their ducts. So that's a little frustrating. That's like 20 or 30 feet of trenching that has to be done to mitigate the Ameren problem. An awful lot of loose or squishy topsoil here in the bottom of this ditch. Over here it looks pretty good. Clay. There's clay along the bottom. But what I'm standing on is very compressible topsoil. I grabbed that spade over there and cleaned up the edge of the drain tile a little bit. Looks like the clay here is at about 36 to 48 inches deep. That means that a lot of material is going to have to be removed where the driveway goes, both in that direction and this direction. That kind of means that this ditch is pretty much going to cease to be a ditch at some point, because the material is going to be removed on both sides of it to a depth nearly equal to the depth of the ditch. I think that's going to cause some stress tomorrow. The end of the conduit here is marked with a 5-foot length of PVC, and there's about 8 inches of polystyrene on top of the end there to make it easier to get access later on. We have a detectable tape on top of the conduit. I think it's too deep. I don't know if it's detectable at that depth. Looks like we're getting a machine delivered. You can see how soft this clay gets when it's wet. That's the footprint I made when the clay was saturated with moisture. But now it's dry and it's hard as rock. This may appear to be an ordinary spinner, but actually it's a conduit extruding machine. Let me explain. In the back, I have a giant pile of conduit. Over here, I have conduit that has been extruded. The way this works is I pull a bundle of 5 pieces of conduit out over the edge of the rear here. I use a damp rag to clean the male ends of the 5 pieces. Then I use the same damp rag to clean the female end. I put the solvent adhesive in the female end and on a male end that's sticking out here. Then I pick up the female end and shove the male end into the female end, twist it a few times, and then I hold it until the joint sets up a little bit. Then I move the joint down here between the bucket and the spool, and I push it together one more time to make sure it's secure, and it cures there. And then every time I add a segment, I just push the whole thing down. This piece is 110 feet long. I have to make one more of these tonight and 2 70-foot pieces. Then I'll go home and collapse. Over there are the pieces that I've made so far. There are 4 140s, 2 160s, and I think there's 1 110 over there. And there's a couple 60s over here, maybe 70s. I don't really remember. I'm tired. I'm dehydrated. So there you have it. Conduit extruding machine. I'm in the Lowe's parking lot, 92617. And this guy has got an impressive piece of wood. Look at the size of that thing. So the trailer would be 96 inches wide, perhaps 102 inches wide. That makes that piece of wood nearly 8 feet wide. Look at that.